Hello everyone and welcome back to chess programming or game design with me. So today we're actually not going to be doing much programming. Today what we're going to be doing is working on our game design a bit to improve it, but also so that we can prepare it for the pawn change, because that's the next thing we want to program. Therefore we are going to need some kind of interface for the user to be able to choose the piece that they want the pawn to become. So I want to do a few things. The first thing I would like to do is I will show you over here. I want to put numbers on the sides. Later on, so as you can see, for now I've numbered them 0 through 7, so that it's easier for when I'm programming to know which row and column they're in. But later on you can change them into 1 through 8 on the left and A through H, I think it goes, or was it F? I'm not too sure. The 8th letter in the alphabet, I can't remember right now off the top of my head, so that the user knows where they're moving, just like in normal chess. We are also going to add an undo button, which, as I've mentioned before, we're only going to work on it once we've finished pretty much fully with the game. We're just going to have it as an additional feature to show you how you could implement something like that. So it's going to be undoing a move. For now, we're only going to add it in. It's not going to have any function. Because I want to add as much stuff as I can into the game now, so that later on we can just program it. So as I said, let's start off with adding those numbers. We are going to... So the easiest way to add it is to add it into the board where we have the auto grid layout script. At first you might think that you can just add like text boxes around here, but I tried it, it doesn't work that way. So what you actually need to do is add UI elements, which you can make them, it's best to make an image and then nest a text box inside of them. That's how I've done it anyway, and that's how I would recommend you do it as well. So we put an image inside, and then inside of the image we put a text box. Text. There we go. Ignore that it's messed up now, but so what we need to do is add 17 of these, and it's going to kind of come in order. So these aren't actually going to affect the game at all, because we're not going to put the square script inside of them. So the image, we can pick a color. Here we go, color. I want it to be this color. I just want it to be the same as the background color. For the text, because this is going to be my default, I want best fit 1 to 100. Oops, 1 to 100, not 110 to 100. That wouldn't make sense. I want to pick black on this because for some reason they don't pick black here. They put like a dark gray, and I prefer it to be black. You can leave it as dark gray if you want to. It's really personal preference there. So now let's just put the text box neatly inside of the image. As you can see, that there's the image, there's the text box. It's not put the way we would like it to. And because we can just copy and paste it over, we're not going to have to do this many times. And now if you want to resize it, you can hold down Shift and then resize it and put it in the center. Inside of here, we want to put a new character, 0, just to test it out and see the size. I think that I'm going to go with slightly smaller. That should be fine. We can resize it later on if we really want to. That it is going to take a while, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. So now that we've got that set up, we just copy and paste it many times. And then there we go. Now we just need to rearrange it. So actually what we need to do is make one of them just an image without any text. This is because, let me show you on here. This is also a part of the, what's it called? A part of the board, as you can see. If you don't add it in, then all of the squares are going to be in the wrong places. So you have to add this in. Otherwise, as I said, they're all going to be in the wrong places. As you can see, I don't have any scripts inside of these images, but they do have to be in front of the whatever number is 0 everywhere. So if you arrange them like that, you're going to get this board appearance. So let's just do that over here really quickly if I can. So move this to above 1 0, move this to above 0 0, and so on. So that's what I'm going to be doing off camera, so that I don't have to bore you. You just put all of these boxes above the zeros, and then we'll see what happens. So once you've got 17 images pasted in, 9 of which are at the bottom, as you can see over here, and then the other 8 are arranged, as I said, above the number zeros, so any number here and then 0. What you need to do is go into board, and now we've only said that our table is supposed to be 8 by 8. Well, we need to change that to be 9 by 9. And once you've done that, as you can see, now our board actually looks decent. It looks the way we would expect it to look. Except for, instead of all of those being zeros, we need to change them to be something else. But for now, let's first of all delete this text, because that just needs to be blank there. As that we just have that there so that our board isn't disorganized, because if we didn't have that there, then what happens is, as you can see, that shifted over and then we have a blank spot there, but we actually need a number there. So we can now fill up the text of these to be whatever we want them to, but more importantly, because I can do that off camera, let's do something else first. Let's just make sure that I'm doing this correctly. So the image is anchored there, that's fine. However, the text actually needs to be anchored to the corners of the image, just like we've done with other objects. So I am also going to do this quickly off camera, as well as change the zeros to numbers as I showed you before. I'm going to have it from 0 to 7 on both axes. So while doing the aforementioned process, make sure that you haven't actually started playing the game, because if you haven't, then stop playing it, it's going to reset everything. However, if you do have it set as playing and you've already made the changes, don't panic. What you can do is just select all of the components in board, Ctrl C, copy them, stop playing the game, then select all of the board components again once you've stopped playing the game, delete them and paste the ones that you have had before you started playing the game. If you've done that, then not much should be affected. However, you might if you run into problems, it's likely to be that you have either changed the in row here, either of the square or the pieces, or because there is a piece in square. However, because we've made our program work in a certain way, those should be reset each time you've started playing the game. So that's all I'm going to say. Also, another thing I found out was that instead of having to change the anchors of each text box, what you can do is change the anchors of one text box and paste it everywhere again, and it actually retains the anchors the way you would expect them to, which is what I did here and how I did it so quickly. So now that we've done that, as you can see, our board isn't centered anymore. So why don't we just move it? No, actually we want to move board parent here. Okay, that's when I was showing that. No, I didn't. This is annoying, because there we go. Okay, we want to move board parent, because if we move board, then that changes things. We don't want to move board. Now we can move this. We can look on the right side to see where we want it to be positioned, because it's going to retain that central line anywhere we put it. And I'd say that looks about right. Now you are going to have to change the anchors on this one for sure, which I'm going to do really quickly here. There we go. And now we have that. As you can see, we haven't actually added any extra functionality, we've just made it more user-friendly. What I've also done is move white's turn to the top, because, well, I prefer it like that. I don't exactly want to have the numbers as well as white's turn on the same side, and therefore what I can actually also do is move board parent slightly down. And that looks about right. It doesn't have to be perfect, because, well, it's personal taste here. You don't have to make it the same as I do. You can still keep white's turn at the bottom, no effect, there's going to be no difference. Now, let's add the button I was talking about. So that's going to go on the main panel, UI button, there we go. We can just position it right there. We can steal the button color. Let me just find it, normal color. There we go. Highlighted color, we can also make it, well, we can make it this color, why not? It doesn't exactly matter too much, because that's just the color, the functionality is not affected by the color. Now let's make it slightly smaller, let's name it undo btn here. And let's change the text to undo move, or you can just leave it as undo, depending on what you want it to be. Oops, I did not mean to move the text there, I meant to move the whole button. Also, as we did with this button, what we're going to do is shrink the text box. Do best fit, because we want the whole text to show up in there. Center it. Make sure those are centered as well, or at least I'm going to make sure that those are centered. You don't have to. Again, it's personal preference. And there we go. Now we have this button, which so far doesn't actually do much because we haven't programmed it, but that's fine. I'm just going to leave it at that. I am also going to change the color to completely black, as I've said before, because I prefer that. Or actually, on the button it does look better if it's not completely black. Okay. Maybe I can center it with that button as well. There we go. So now let's move on to the panels that I was talking about for the pawn. So in the end I actually decided that this should be a two-part video. So in the end what we've actually done today is make the undo button, which is now invisible here, and also put the numbers on the sides. In the next video what we're going to do is work on the panels so that they're going to look something like this. You can't see those right now, but that's how it's supposed to be. And we're going to have two pieces as well. So we're going to be making this, and in the video after that we're going to be adding functionality to this. So stay tuned for that. So for now, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask in the comments down below. I will be answering them as soon as I can. Other than that, if you enjoyed watching this video, then please give me a like, share and subscribe. It helps me out and encourages me to make more of these videos. So yay! Until next time, once again, thank you so much for watching and goodbye.